Alfred did not know how Edgar and Alessandra had gotten to the point of wanting to marry one another, but he could tell how nervous she seemed. He smiled to ease her fears. After all, he was starting to like having her around. Alessandra felt her heart skip a beat when the door closed behind her.
I wasn't expecting you to show up. But if you did, breakfast time wasn't my guess.
Was I meant to come in the night? As a thief would?
Her boldness shocked him.
Let's get on to business, shall we?
Alessandra's heart was beating out of her chest. Could she really go through with this?
Alessandra lingered by the door, unsure how the Duke would react to her comment. To her relief, Edgar smiled softly. "I suppose if you had come by night, my men might have taken you for a criminal," he shrugged, gesturing to the vacant chair across from him. "Do take a seat. I'm most curious. How did you manage to leave your father's house, considering you are said to never leave? Did you deceive him, or did he permit you to come?" Alessandra carefully considered Edgar's words as she lowered herself into the chair. "I am not complicit with my father, Your Grace. In truth, he would never have consented to my visit. He would call me mad to think you would invite me into your home." "Does your father dislike you?" Edgar inquired bluntly. There was no use in circumlocution when the matter at hand was so pressing. "I do not think he dislikes me, no. He is simply ashamed of me. Who would want a daughter with a reputation like mine in a world such as this?" This comment cut the Duke in a peculiar way, causing a rare surge in sympathy. "It is the duty of a parent to love their child regardless," he said, his voice softening. "It is a pity you were born a baron's daughter. Were you born to a family of farmers, they would have cast you off to tend to the land, no doubt, but you would have known love in other ways." "If I were the daughter of farmers," Alessandra murmured, "they would have no need of me. Perhaps I'd be sold off to the highest bidder rather than hidden behind a mask." "Indeed. It is because you are Barrett's daughter that this has come to pass," Edgar remarked, his tone quiet but knowing. In high society, jealousy is a common ailment, particularly among young women. Alessandra did not argue, conceding his point with a brief nod. "Someone must have envied you greatly." "I can see that now," Edgar continued. "But tell me, why would one who has spent most of her life in hiding seek to marry someone as public as myself? Someone constantly in the spotlight?" "Truthfully, Your Grace," Alessandra said, her voice almost apologetic, "I never intended to ask you about marriage. It was merely a thought that slipped from my lips. I was searching for someone to marry, but I never imagined it would be someone of your stature." She took a breath and continued more earnestly. "I have considered 3 things, Your Grace. First, you value privacy, so I would not be burdened by constant social demands. Second, I could protect you from the attention of others, particularly from those who would seek to intrude. And third, you are a man who could exert control over my family should they become problematic." Alessandra had spent the previous night contemplating the practicality of such a marriage. A man of Edgar's influence would be the only one her father could not easily dismiss, and the mere thought of escaping her current home filled her with a sense of resolve. "True," Edgar mused. "I do prefer my privacy, though there are some occasions when social obligations are unavoidable. Family events or functions for business. How could I attend without my wife? It would be dreadfully dull if you remained in hiding." "You misunderstand, Your Grace," Alessandra said, meeting his gaze directly. "I never hid myself because I wished to. I did so because I was forced to. I would love to see the world, to attend parties, to dance and be seen. My confidence may be lacking, but I do not wish to live in the shadows anymore." Edgar observed her for a moment, a faint hum of contemplation escaping his lips. He murmured. "A week ago, I would not have entertained such an offer. But today I find myself curious. Let's see where this leads." He placed a paper before her, the elegant edges of the stationery catching the light. "What is this?" Alessandra asked, her gaze moving from the paper to him. "A contract," Edgar said smoothly. "If we are to proceed with this arrangement, it must have terms and conditions naturally." He pushed the paper, ink, and a quill toward her. "Shall we begin?" Edgar asked, his expression unreadable. Alessandra's pulse quickened. She had not expected him to agree so readily. "Is this too easy?" she wondered, her mind racing. She had thought he might question her further, test her more thoroughly. "What are you waiting for?" Edgar's voice broke her reverie. "Do you not trust me, Alessandra?" "Of course," she said, reaching tentatively for the quill. "Then sign it and be free." This was her chance, to leave all the torture behind. Will Alessandra take the pen and sign it? Will the Duke keep his promise of protecting her? How will her father react to this?
Hey, I'm Alessandra. If you're wondering what happens next, download the Pocket FM app now and listen to the exciting episodes of The Duke's Masked Bride.
Alessandra visits Duke Edgar estate. Edgar was surprisingly welcoming, questioning Alessandra's escape from her guarded home. She confessed her father's shame, which resonated with Edgar, who pitied her isolated life due to societal jealousy. Intrigued, Edgar presented her with a contract, stating terms were necessary. Alessandra felt a rush of unease at his quick agreement. Did she trust him? This was her chance for freedom. Will Alessandra sign the contract? Will the Duke protect her? How will her father react? Alessandra gasped as Edgar's fingers suddenly wrapped around hers before she could touch the paper. "What happened to your hand?" he asked, his gaze sharp. He examined the redness around her knuckles, then looked at her other hand, which was unmarked. "Did you injure it?" "It's nothing," Alessandra muttered, quickly pulling her hand from his grasp. "It is something," Edgar insisted. "Now that you will be my wife, I do not take kindly to anyone hurting those I care about. Name the person, and I will see them punished." Alessandra hesitated. "It was an accident, Your Grace. Just Edgar," he corrected. "See to it that there are no further accidents while you remain at home. We will address this matter again later." His tone was resolute. Alessandra looked up from the paper. "You are not my ideal, Edgar," she admitted, her voice matter-of-fact. "So, you have a type?" Edgar asked, his tone teasing, though it seemed as though he wanted to know more. "I was hidden away, but I was not blind." "Now, shall we continue?" Alessandra asked, eager to move past the topic of affection. "Certainly," Edgar replied. "First, you must not speak of this arrangement to anyone, save for Alfred, my butler. He will act as your protector should the need arise. Secondly, we must communicate frankly and avoid letting small issues grow into larger ones. I find that sort of thing irritating." "I agree," Alessandra said, nodding. "And may I keep my mask on until I feel comfortable without it?" "That is entirely your choice." Edgar paused, his gaze fixed on her as he added, "Lastly, we must share the same bed." Alessandra's eyes widened in surprise. "Excuse me, Your Grace. Edgar." He corrected her once more, a hint of amusement in his voice. "Did you think I meant something else?" "Just sleeping, Alessandra. I meant only for sleeping." "Of course, sleeping is perfectly fine," Alessandra stammered, feeling embarrassed. She quickly looked back at the paper. "Is there anything else?" "No, we have covered the basics," Edgar replied. "Anything else can be dealt with in the future, should the need arise. Now please sign it." Alessandra paused, considering. What if someone breaks the contract? Should we not include a punishment clause? Edgar shook his head. The main point is confidentiality. If word gets out that we have entered into this arrangement, it will hurt you far more than it will hurt me. I shall remain a duke, but you will be the subject of ridicule. I trust you understand this. Alessandra nodded, understanding the weight of his words. Lastly, Edgar said, "We shall be married forever." I thought that was understood. He looked at her expectantly. Be sure to add that to the contract. This is eternity. Forever? Alessandra murmured, her disbelief palpable. Yes, forever, Edgar replied casually. Do you plan on breaking your vows? Till death do us part, he grinned, clearly enjoying the horrified expression on her face. Well, at some point you will need an heir, she said cautiously. Of course, my wife shall bear me children, though don't worry, I am in no rush to have a little one running about the house. Edgar's distaste for children was well known. You wouldn't mind me having your child? Alessandra questioned, her mind in a whirl. Edgar sighed, meeting her eye. Yes, I wouldn't mind you having my child. If I did, we wouldn't be discussing marriage. If this is too much for you, we can still disregard it all. Alessandra's brow furrowed slightly, though it was not visible under her mask. I worry about what a child of mine might have to endure in this world. Others might attach the rumors about me to them. The Duke observed her concern. Alessandra, you do not yet understand the weight my name carries. Once you marry me, those rumors will disappear. No one will dare speak ill of you, or our child, ever again, Edgar assured her, his tone firm. He knew how to silence gossip. He had ways of making people hush. If you tore out a man's tongue, you would hardly hear a word from him. People would soon learn to keep their opinions to themselves. Alessandra didn't ask how Edgar could guarantee such silence. There was too much truth to his words, and she suspected his power extended beyond what he revealed. He was speaking gently now, but there was a hint of something more dangerous in his demeanor. "We can proceed with the contract, Your Grace," she said, finally beginning to sign her name. Giving him an heir wouldn't be a problem if he could protect the child. "Once again, it's just Edgar," he reminded her gently. "Sorry, Edgar," she corrected herself. "I shall visit your father tomorrow to ask for your hand. This is just to ensure there are no more accidents at your home." He slid the paper from her side as she subtly hid her hands from his gaze. "Would you like to stay with me until the wedding?" he asked. "It is not unusual, though some might think you are pregnant. Will Alessandra accept the Duke's invitation? Will she truly be safe under Edgar's protection, or will his methods of silencing dissenters ultimately lead to her own downfall? What secrets does Edgar hold, and how will they impact their marriage?"
Hey, I'm Alessandra. If you're wondering what happens next, download the Pocket FM app now and listen to the exciting episodes of The Duke's Masked Bride.